Okay, let's jump right into this explainer by addressing literally every football fan's favorite pastime, relentlessly debating who is actually the best in the history of the beautiful game. I mean, whether you're at a pub, on a forum, or just blowing up a group chat with your friends, the arguments over the greatest players, the strongest leagues, and the most dominant clubs just never end. But what if we took emotion out of it entirely? What if we just threw out our biases and looked at the cold, hard data? Today, we're exploring an organization that attempts to do exactly that. To make sense of these statistics, we've structured this explainer into 5 sections: the ultimate football debate, inside the IFFH, ranking the best clubs, the strongest national leagues, and finally, the greatest players ever. Section 1, the ultimate football debate. Who decides greatness? When fans are endlessly arguing over Messi versus Pelé or the Premier League versus La Liga, it usually just comes down to the eye test, right? Or maybe pure nostalgia. But the International Federation of Football History and Statistics, or the IFFHS, claims to have the definitive mathematical answers. They chronicle the history and records of association football globally. And honestly, they aren't asking for our opinions. They are strictly crunching the numbers. Moving right along to Section 2, inside the IFFHS, history and critics. Before we look at their staggering numbers and leaderboards, it's absolutely crucial to understand the fascinating organization behind them. Founded back in 1984 by Alfredo Poch in Leipzig, the IFFHS has really journeyed across the globe. After spending time in Abu Dhabi and Bonn, they eventually settled in 2014 in Zurich, Switzerland. Now, if you know your football geography, Zurich is the very same city where FIFA is headquartered. But despite sharing a hometown, it's important to note the IFFHS operates completely independently. What's really interesting here is the deep polarization surrounding this group. They are widely cited by massive, credible entities like FIFA, who have actually referenced IFFHS awards on their official website. Major outlets like Germany's DFB and Kicker magazine use their data all the time. Yet, on the flip side, they've been fiercely criticized by some sports historians. Take Karl Lennartz from the University of Cologne, who once dismissed the whole organization as an obscure one-man show driven entirely by its founder. The German news agency DPA literally refuses to publish their rankings. So it's a fascinating divide between mainstream adoption and academic skepticism. Section 3, ranking the best clubs, mathematical formulas. So how do they actually calculate these awards? Well, to crown the world's best club, they don't use some panel of voting journalists. They assign strict point values based on a 12-month rolling calendar. First, they track all national and intercontinental matches. Then, and this is key, they weight those points by national league strength. So a win in a top-tier league is worth 4 points, while a lower-tier league win might only be worth 3 or less. Finally, they add heavy weight to elite continental tournaments. Things like the UEFA Champions League and the Copa Libertadores yield the most points of all. It's a pure mathematical formula. Applying this formula since 1991 reveals a massive dominance by the Spanish giants. Real Madrid and Barcelona are currently deadlocked at the top, with 5 world's best club wins apiece. Real Madrid actually secured their 5th win as recently as 2024. Chasing them in 3rd place is England's Liverpool, holding strong with 3 distinct wins over the past few decades. Shifting our focus to the women's game, the stats reveal an absolute dynasty. French powerhouse Lyon stands completely alone at the top of the mountain with an incredible 7 wins between 2012 and 2020. However, they are being closely chased by Barcelona, who are on a terrifying recent surge of 5 consecutive wins up to 2025. Germany's VfL Wolfsburg rounds out that top tier with 2 historical wins. Zooming out to look at the entire 20th century, from 1901 to 2000, the IFFHS ran a special statistical study to find the undisputed kings of each continent. For this, they ignored domestic leagues entirely and only weighted continental and intercontinental competitions. The results? Real Madrid took Europe, Peñarol took South America, Asante Kotoko reigned in Africa, Al Hilal in Asia, Saprissa in CONCACAF, and South Melbourne down in Oceania. These historic honors were officially awarded during a massive gala in London back in 2010. Section 4, the strongest national leagues, global dominance. Now, if those are the strongest clubs mathematically, we have to ask, which national leagues actually dominate the global landscape? When it comes to the toughest domestic competitions, fans love to loudly argue for the English Premier League, right? But the IFFHS data since 1991 shows a dead heat between Spain's La Liga and Italy's Serie A, each boasting 13 wins as the strongest national league in the world. England actually sits back in 3rd place with 6 wins. The really crucial takeaway here is that dominance shifts over time. Breaking it down by decades shows a fascinating changing of the guard in Europe. The English Premier League was statistically the strongest league in the world during the 2000s, but in the 2010s, that crown was snatched away by Spain's La Liga. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, Brazil's Serie A remains the absolute undisputed constant force, winning the South American title in both of those consecutive decades. Which brings us to Section 5, the greatest players ever, the definitive list. We've finally arrived at the most passionately debated topic in all of sports, ranking the individual players. Looking at the 20th century, the numbers declare Brazil's Pelé the absolute undisputed king. And just look at the gap in those points. Pelé sits at 1,705 points, leading the brilliant Dutch master Johan Cruyff by a massive margin of over 400 points. The margins get incredibly tight after that, though, with Franz Beckenbauer, Alfredo Di Stefano, and Diego Maradona separated by barely a handful of points. Looking at the data for the women's 20th century rankings, it really highlights the incredible pioneering dominance of the American legends. Mia Hamm took the top spot with 442 points, closely followed by her U.S. teammate Michelle Akers with 411. I mean, they are miles ahead of the rest of the pack, showcasing just how far ahead of the curve the United States women's program was during the late 1900s. But the crucial point of this explainer, and the thing that sent absolute shockwaves through the football community, is the historic 2025 update. For decades, Pelé was the untouched number one. But in May of 2025, based on updated career performance statistics, Lionel Messi finally pushed into the number one spot of all time, officially surpassing Pelé in the IFFHS record books. Maradona, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Cruyff round out what is an absolutely staggering top five. Before we wrap up, I want you to consider this staggering number, 1,017,786. While the IFFHS relies heavily on strict performance metrics, they also measure popularity. That number is the amount of votes Egyptian legend Mohamed Aboutrika received from fans to win the 2007 Most Popular Player award. It brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of global fan engagement outside of just the European and South American statistical bubbles. As we conclude this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. We've seen how the IFFHS provides incredible mathematical structure to football history. They weigh the leagues, they tally the goals, and they attempt to rank the unrankable. But what you should really take away from this is a question. Does numerical data ever truly settle the emotional debates of football fans? Can a weighted point system ever really capture the magic, the heartbreak, and the poetry of the beautiful game? I'll let you decide. Keep learning, keep debating, and thanks for exploring this with me today.
you.